Hi, I'm Aaron Brooker, agronomist for Michigan and Northern Indiana, and I wanted to talk about Sidedress applications today and talk about some of the things we've learned in PFR when it comes to Sidedress timing as well as the placement of that Sidedress application and try to make the most profitable application we can. So starting with timing, today I'm standing in a crop that was planted on May 5th and we're right at the V3 growth stage, and you can count those collars up the plant. Count those leaf colors where they come back on the stem, and you can go up the plant and count those at this early stage and tell what stage you're at. So we're at the V3 stage in this corn, and in fact with PFR we found that the V3 growth stage is the most profitable time to make that side dress pass. The reason for that isn't because this corn's taking up a lot of nitrogen out of the soil right now, but it's because it's going to be very soon. So starting around V6, V7, and especially into V8, we really start to increase the amount of nitrogen that that corn plant is taking up. And we need a lot of nitrogen in the nitrate form in order for that plant to have the nitrogen it needs. So when we apply these different forms of nitrogen, only a portion of them are in the nitrate form. Some of them, like urea, are all in the urea form, so we have to convert all of that to nitrate. And so if we apply right at the V6 time frame, you can see with some of our data we've seen, we're actually a little too late and that corn starts to get behind. By the time that nitrogen converts into the usable form, that corn already needs to be taking up a lot of that nitrogen. So by timing that a little bit earlier at that V3 stage, that corn's pretty small right now, but this is the stage where we found that it's most profitable to be out there with that side dress pass. Now, in terms of placing that nitrogen, you can also see with some of the data we did here in 2022, this study here shows that a lot of different timings and placement methods of that side dress nitrogen pass. And anytime we had nitrogen on the soil surface, we didn't get that incorporated or we didn't inject it into the ground, that's when we had our lower profitabilities. If we got that nitrogen into the ground, if we had that timing at the right timing and that at V3, that's when we were most profitable with this data. So getting that nitrogen into the ground is going to allow us to be most profitable. We've actually started another study looking at how deep we need to make that pass. So typically, we thought with that side dress pass, if we get it 2 to 3 inches in the ground, we'll be in good shape. And for the most part, we are. But is that where we're the most profitable? Well, after 1 year of data so far, we've seen that if you are able to set up that your side dress unit with knives along with those coulters, and you're able to get that into the ground a little bit further at that 5 to 6 inch depth, we actually saw an increase in profitability there. And that just helps to retain that nitrogen. So the problem with nitrogen being on the surface, or if we have it too close to the surface, that urea component is subject to volatilization. So we can actually just lose it to the atmosphere. And so we don't want to lose that nitrogen. When we get that nitrogen deeper at that 5 to 6 inch depth, we're losing less of that nitrogen, and that application is a little bit more profitable because of that. Now, given the conditions that we're seeing this year, most of us have been really dry the last couple of weeks, and there is no rain in the forecast. There's a couple of areas that got a little bit more rain a couple of weeks ago, but pretty much the whole area is looking dry and hot for the foreseeable future in the 7-day, 10-day outlooks there on the forecasts. So what does that mean for our side dress applications? Well, if we go back to what makes our applications most profitable, it still holds true. So we definitely, as much as possible, need to get that application in the ground. And if we can get it deeper in the ground, that's going to help protect us. One of the ways we can get nitrogen into the ground is rainfall, but since we don't have any rainfall forecasted, we're already hot and dry. Any nitrogen applications made on the soil surface are going to be highly subject to volatilization loss. So urea over the top, even UAN applications, those dribble units, potentially are going to see a lot of loss this year if we don't see some rainfall following those applications. You can include a urease inhibiting product, preventing that volatilization. Those give us maybe about a week of protection in a lot of cases. So if we still don't get rainfall, we still might not be able to protect that nitrogen. but I think that is a year, or this is a year that those have the potential to pay off if we are able to get that nitrogen incorporated into the ground with some rain eventually. So just a few tips there on that nitrogen pass. We do have a lot of corn throughout the area that's already at this V3 growth stage or quickly approaching it. So it is time to be thinking about making those passes, but we want to protect that nitrogen, get it into the soil if we have that capability to, and make ourselves the most profitable. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to myself or your local representative.